Sometimes you just gotta go Bardown.
Krull, top titty 2x4 to end the game. That was nice.
Bardown Beauties.
That's the sexy part of the game, is it not? The plays and the goals and the...
Yeah, that's what you guys like. I mean, it is great.
And now, a new episode of Bardown Beauties with Jessi Pierce and Kirsten Krull.
At Jim Beam, they know the importance of tradition, like chanting, "Let's play hockey" prior to the start of each game, or playing the state of hockey anthem after a wild win. This season, raise one to your fan family with a bourbon that invites us all to come as friends and leave as family. Jim Beam Bourbon Whiskey, the official bourbon whiskey partner of the Minnesota Wild and XL Energy Center. Drink smart. Jim Beam Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. 40% alcohol by volume. Copyright 2021. James B. Beam Distilling Company, Incorporated, Claremont, Kentucky.
Your nostalgic SotaStick favorites are back, and they are in stock now at SotaStick.com. From the Met Center colored seats, my personal favorite tee, to the getting blown out the Metrodome door, rep the Minnesota sports timeless vibes with a SotaStick hat, hoodie, tee, whatever suits you and their nostalgic vibes. SotaStick has all the best gear in the game. Don't forget to smash Bardown Beauties at checkout for 15% off all your purchases. Again, that's at SotaStick.com. Hello, everybody. What's up? We're back. Bardown Beauties, episode 253. I'm Jessi Pierce. She's Kirsten Krull. As always, happy week, happy wild week, happy road week, Kirsten. We're going to do it again. We're going to start off this week's episode talking about why the Minnesota Wild can't seem to get wins at home, but can seemingly do so on the road, coming back for a 2-game home stand. Not great, not what we wanted to see. A loss on Hockey Day, Minnesota. Kirsten, John Hines, I asked him. He said it's a mindset. He said for whatever reason, we get a very different mindset at home. But you can't have that. I just don't know what else to say. And he knows it too, and the players in the room know it. But he said he feels like there is a different effort being put forth at home for whatever reason.
No, there 10,000% is. And I respectfully say, I think as a whole, this Minnesota Wild roster is more talented than a Calgary, than a Utah. And yet we're losing games we shouldn't. And honestly, my perspective on this, we look at that Calgary game on Hockey Day, Minnesota. The Wild did not show up the majority of the 2.5 periods played. They showed up late in the third, but arguably the last 3 minutes is when they decided to show up, go on to score goals, to cause that frenzy at the end, to kind of put hope in it. So it becomes a, 5-4 game. Mm-hmm. There's 10, 12 seconds left when they had a chance to maybe equal things out, but to lose a game like that is almost worse to me, because it shows we could have gotten this done at home. We just showed up way too late, and we continue to take another L on the scoreboard.
Yeah, Hines, like I kind of alluded to, very vocal, much more vocal than we've seen him, right? We've always kind of said John Hines doesn't show emotion one way or another. You got a little bit out of that, probably because myself and some of the other media members just kept pushing the buttons like, well, what is going on here? Because, yeah, you're right. Go back to that Utah game. And again, these two home games coming off one of Minnesota's best performances against Colorado in Colorado, right? Like, to follow that game up where they went into Denver, they won against a very good Avalanche team, and then to come back and lose shutout by Utah, and then on Hockey Day to Calgary, where I do think they played well in the first period, and then after that it was just a big old it's John Hines had said, he's like, it's not good enough. It is not good enough. And I had broached the question then, because in the locker room, Jake Middleton told me it's not like the effort's not there. He said, this is shitty because we're putting in the effort. I wasn't convinced in that. So I asked John Hines, I said, is it an effort thing? And he said, yes, there are different levels of effort and competitive set for whatever reason they're not getting to when they're at home in particular. On the road, they've learned how to do that, but for whatever reason, they come home, they start playing east to west, they start playing non-simple hockey, and then you mix in, Kirsten, the other problem. The other problem I'm having is on the defensive end. You have Jared Spurgeon back. You've got Jake Middleton back. You've got Brock Faber back. You had Declan Chisholm playing well with Spurgeon prior to Spurgeon's injury. You had John Merrill stepping up and doing his thing, and Zach Bogosian stepping up in the absences. For whatever reason, the blue line to me is atrocious. Now, we saw some sort of remedy by taking Declan Chisholm out of the lineup to be a healthy scratch to, as John Hines said, get a reset against the Chicago Blackhawks. We'll see if he's in as this road trip continues on Wednesday. But it's not even just Declan Chisholm, who I think accounted for 3 or 4 of those goals of the 9 in the 2-game homestand. All of the defense collectively, I've just been very unimpressed.
I mean, it just goes to show clearly Jonas Brodin is the best player on this Minnesota Wild squad, because look at how the defense just completely crumbles and we lose games when he's not in the lineup. So that's all it says to me.
I really wasn't even trying to tee you up for that one, but there you go. That was a nice softball in and you hit the home run.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I'm here for on a Monday morning. Good for you. I'm waiting for the follow-up.
I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe it is. I don't know. I can't necessarily have seen Middleton or Faber play terribly. Declan Chisholm, his upside is so good, but his downside is very bad. We've seen that the past year, right? Like last year and even this season, like he can make some very egregious turnovers, and the mistakes that he was making were just not playing sound defense, frankly, as crazy as that sounds. Yes, John Merrill has taken his step back, has fallen back into the John Merrill that really caused me angst last year. I've been trying to defend him because I think he'd been playing fine. I will just say fine. You got to remember, he is a bottom pair defenseman. Like, he's fine. It is what it is. But it's frustrating to see him out there. Do you think it warrants another look at a David Jiricek? Does it? I mean, again, there's the salary cap situation that has to take into account. So I don't even know that you can do this or what that looks like, but do they have to get another defenseman in? Because Travis Dermott wasn't ever the answer either. David Jiricek looked good in the two or three games that he was up here. Again, a very offensively sound defenseman, which the Wild need because offensively they're not generating either right now. But do you think that there are some possible moves to make, or is it something that you do take a look at again come trade deadline, knowing your future on the blue line is pretty safe, pretty good with Zebuyam and with Jiricek down the line. But do you also maybe look at a trade deadline acquisition, like a rental piece, if we're not happy with the Chisholms and the Merrills of the world?
I mean, I think we've always been open to ideas come the trade deadline. I don't think Bill Guerin has ever been one to... No, I take it back. I know Bill Guerin has never been one to just sit back and not do anything, not be eyeing the market to see what possibly could be done. So, of course, that is probably something being looked at. I'm not sure you need to call up Jiricek right now. And again, like you mentioned with the salary, I don't even know if it's possible, but also
I feel like it's probably not,
I say that
right?
because we've seen how this Minnesota Wild team has done with John Merrill, Chisholm throughout this season, like without changing anything on the blue line. Like we've seen how this team can perform. It's just a matter of they need to get back to the groove they were in to start the first half of the year. And right now, I don't know who this team is.
Do you think that's part of their problem too? I've broached this in my own little head, in my own little thought process. Haven't vocalized it yet, at least to our audience and to John Hines. This sounds like I'm going to say something egregious. It's not crazy. I'm not crazy. Do you think they don't know their identity? Like they really don't know, like, are we good? Are we bad? Are we great? Are we like, it feels kind of like maybe they don't know who they are. Are they hard? Probably not. Go back to that stupid chain. Wouldn't it have been funny if I had actually stolen?
Choose your hard. You choose your hard. We're choosing the wrong hard right now. Apparently that was the whole thing that originated from. Like choosing your hard.
Yeah, I've heard that before. You hear that when you're on like a diet plan, like choose your hard.
I know that, but that's like how the chain came. I don't know. I let them do what they want, whatever helps them. I don't think this team knows who they are, and also I don't know if they can handle the pressure of being under the spotlight per se, because look at how the team was performing at the start of the year. Once again, the national media, everybody was talking about, of course, Kirill Kaprizov. He's been doing amazing things this season. Of course, there's the injury, so was taken out of that spotlight because he wasn't playing. But when the team was like top of the standings, all the attention on them, and then have just kind of royally fallen off. Part of me just questions, can we handle being talked about?
That's a really good question. Because they do, I mean, I go back to a conversation we had with Matt Boldy post-game, because as we've discussed in previous episodes, the Wild haven't beaten those top quote unquote best teams in the league, right? I mean, they're losing to their Edmontons, they're losing to the Vegases, they lose to the Colorados in a lot of instances, and those are the teams in the West that you need to be able to beat come Stanley Cup playoff time. And you know, that question was asked to Matt Boldy, why can't you do that? Where does that put you guys? And Boldy kind of snippetly said, you know, we're top 5. If we weren't top 5, you guys would be talking about how we're not, but we are in the top 5. It's like, you could be in the top 5 and still not deserve to be in the top 5, I guess, frankly, right? The Winnipeg Jets, another team, right, that they can't seem to beat, a team that you're going to have to go through. That's a good, I hadn't considered that. It seems silly to say, right? Like, it seems
it comes with different pressures and expectations. And I think when you're being talked about like that, I think it does, whether you know it or not, add those unspoken expectations. And I just don't know how much our team can withstand that kind of pressure.
They almost prefer to be the underdog, the Cinderella. They don't ever want to be
I've always said this team plays their best when their backs are against the wall.
You have always said that. You have. I can vouch for it. I got the receipts. You said it.
Thank you.
I've heard it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's interesting. It certainly is. What do you make? And we never really talk about the officials because I don't love to get into like, oh, the official made this mistake, blah, blah, blah. The Minnesota Wild continued to get dogged with a lot of missed high elbows, a lot of potential injury-related calls. Do you agree? Do you think that's a thing? Like, is that an actual thing that we're seeing, or is it just because we're on this side of the coin and like, oh, we don't like that?
I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. And, you know, especially the competitive nature, even for the fans when you watch games. Of course, when it's a team that you're so passionate about, you get those feelings and your immediate reaction is like, oh, well, this is just rigged, blah, blah, blah. But I do think there are certain instances where it's hard to argue against that, such as going back to the official with the Connor McDavid, Marcus Johansson play. Like that, that just didn't seem legit. So, I mean, there are instances where it's like, what are you guys doing? But I think maybe more than half of the time, it's just people can't really respectfully look at it logically without the emotions involved in the moment.
Do you want officials to start explaining calls or non-calls much like the NBA does? You and I had the privilege of going to a Timberwolves game, and I said it makes me incredibly uncomfortable when the NBA officials have to like come and look straight into the camera like they're looking into your soul. Do you want that instead?
I absolutely do. It's like an intimate Zoom call. Like, I feel like I am personally talking to them. I do. And I think the way that things have transpired and the lack of trust, quite frankly, amongst officials, not even just NHL, like across all major sports, I do think you need that accountability to be able to back up and explain in the moment. I love that the NBA does that. I would love to see it across all sports.
Like a press conference. We've talked about it before. A nice little press conference with officials post-game. Have them answer some of the problems that we have. And especially game deciding calls or non-calls. Like maybe to let the Buffalo Bills go to the Super Bowl for a change and maybe let that happen instead. But nope, that wasn't a first down. It sure as hell was a first down.
Yeah. It's too soon. I'm not ready to talk about that.
No.
We were all Bills fans last night.
Just how boring.
And if I hear one more person say to me, but Kirsten, you're a Taylor Swift fan, I don't care. I don't like Kansas City. My like for Taylor Swift is very separate of my disdain for Kansas City. I don't like Patrick Mahomes, respectfully. I'm annoyed of their success in Kansas City. And it just seems like they're like the favorite child, poster child, always winning. I'm sick of that narrative. I'm sick of it. My like for Taylor Swift, I don't need to see her every Sunday. I don't need to see her at NFL games. I could care less. I enjoy her as a person. I love her music. I don't need to see her. And it's not anything against her. This is not anything against her. It's just anytime somebody, whenever I talk about rooting against Kansas City and people are like, oh, but you're a Taylor Swift fan. It's not the same, people. Stop asking me that. And
I'll be honest, it surprises me once you told me that too.
It shouldn't.
It did a little. Like
it shouldn't.
Just because, but I know you're a football fan too, and that is a separate love of yours, so I guess that would make sense. But yeah, I was just like, oh, but that's your girls' team, so I don't know.
No, I hated Kansas City before Taylor Swift even started dating Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce, a fine human being. Patrick Mahomes, I'm sure he's a fine person. But football, no, I'm over it.
Yeah, nobody wants to see KC and Philly again.
There's only one man who can save us. Actually, there's two men that can save us. Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts. Those are the only men that can save us.
I mean, Jalen Hurts didn't bother helping me in my fantasy football this year. He was my quarterback, and I finished dead last.
Well,
dead last. Travis
he's in the
Kelce was
Super
also
Bowl.
on my team, I was so annoyed to see him up on the podium being like, yeah, we did it. I'm like, you did nothing this year. I had you on my team, and you did nothing this year. Get off my screen.
Do you know who else is annoyed? Our hockey listeners that we're talking about football.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. You know, that's that time of year where it's just like, this little break. I did find some cues with the Beauties. We'll get to that in the next segment. I know I didn't prep you for them, but I just found them this morning.
I had no idea.
I haven't prepped myself either. It's okay.
Curveballs.
We're gonna go in. We're going in blind. I had screenshotted you guys. Remember last week I said I lost some cues. I was like, oh no, the story went away. But Jessi was a little smarter than even I anticipated, and I do have a few cues that came through that I was like, oh good, we can answer them this week. And
very nice.
I was actually just
also don't mind
out.
me, people watching on YouTube. I'm just looking at how my mustache looks in this lighting because one of our lovely Wild fans decided to hop on my Facebook in the comments and ask if I grew a mustache for the Kansas City Chiefs. So thank you for that, by the way, and also reminding me to dermaplane my face. Apparently,
if it makes you feel better, yeah. My mom was shaving her mustache for years. I used to watch her all the time, and I was like, is that going to happen to me? And it did. Luckily, we have blonde hair, right? So that's kind of helpful.
Yeah.
Like, it's
well,
not so
honestly,
dark.
yeah, whatever. Different story for a different time. No, I don't have one. And also, lighting and makeup at the end of a day at 9 p.m.
Yeah.
This is true. Just saying.
This is so true. You can catch us live in the flesh with lighting and makeup this Wednesday.
And a mustache if you're lucky.
And a mustache if you're lucky. This Wednesday at Tom Reed's, 5 o'clock. Pre-game show ahead of the Minnesota Wild at Toronto Maple Leafs, 6 p.m. puck drop there. We've got giveaways, we got trivia, we got beer specials, courtesy of our friends out at Grainbelt. So we'll see you at TR's 5 p.m. Who doesn't want to go to a hump day fun with the Beauts at TR's?
Not to mention a chicken quesadilla.
If we get there early enough. I still am confused.
I'm going to get there early because I want my chicken quesadilla and my cheese curds.
What are the rules? For those of you who don't know, the chicken quesadilla at Tom Reed's is bomb.com. Obsessed. Like pre-Livia, Jessi was ordering 2 of these bad boys. We wonder why we got to the weight that we did. But they are so good. And it's the salsa. It's all of it. It's a chicken quesadilla. But apparently they are not allowed on the game special menu because they take up too much space on the grill. I got to the bottom of this finally after years of wondering. So it goes away at 6. The chicken quesadilla, is that correct?
I don't know if it's 6
because that's when the game would start. Yes, events. I don't know. So get there early. You will because you'll be there to see us. So that'll be great. We're going to take a break. When we come back, let's talk a little bit of Hockey Day Minnesota. Let's talk a little bit about Joel Eriksson-Ek helping buoy that top line as well as the top 6 forwards and amongst the bottoms, and answer some cues with the Beauts since I found them. Yay for all of us. All right, stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hey guys, Jessi Pierce here for Livia Weight Control Centers. It's a new year, and why not get a new you? Start 2025 off strong with Livia. Livia is taking weight loss to the next level. The same trusted team of registered dietitians, nutritionists, and registered nurses you know and love now offer even more tools for success. Join Livia today and receive 25% off GLP-1 weight loss medications, all doses, plus 25% off Livia's award-winning nutrition programs. Livia's you-centric approach creates a personalized plan just for you. You guys know my story. I am down more than 40 pounds. Not only have I dropped the weight, though, you guys, I've managed to keep it off. That's thanks to my Woodbury Clinic team of dietitians. I'm using the nutrition plan, plus pairing it with the GLP-1 medications just to give me that extra boost, and I couldn't be more thrilled. I look good. I feel good. That's what I want for you. So start 2025 off strong with Livia. Join today and receive 25% off GLP-1 medications and Livia's award-winning nutrition program. With 9 convenient Livia centers, there's never been a better time to start. Visit livea.com, that's livea.com, or call 855-GO-LIVIA to schedule your free consultation. Let's make 2025 your year to succeed. Livia, where they do weight loss differently. All right, we are back. First, I also want to recap Hockey Day, Minnesota in Shakopee. Kirsten, we got to get out there Friday. Did you go out Saturday for a little bit too?
I was going to. It just didn't make sense with having to be at the arena by 3:00.
Yeah, that's true. Hockey Day gets to be a little crazy, a little busy. But we got to ride some rides. I kind of love going out there Friday when we did because things were a little bit more open, a little bit more free flowing. Favorite ride that you rode on? Because you were helping out my children, rode on a couple rides with them as well. Appreciate you. They like you much more than me, so that was really fun.
Hudson might be my new buddy. Like he and
yeah.
I.
Yeah, they cursed when you left, and I mean literally cursed. And I was like, "Excuse me." Oh, damn it, she left.
To be fair, they were distracted by the car ride. They wanted the cars.
Which we did get on. However, Caden was too small to be able to drive the antique car, which set off a whole nother range of emotion and problems, as you can imagine. I'm like, I can't grow you, man. We can do it next year, probably. Maybe even this summer he'll be tall enough. I don't know.
When they whip that height stick out, they're not messing around.
No,
safety first.
Well, I think to be fair, I don't think his feet would have reached the pedal to drive. Like I think I'm like you literally couldn't do this ride. That's the thing.
He got to do every other ride.
Yeah, we had a good time.
The carousel was hands down my favorite. I love the carousel.
Kind of wish we would have had like some darkness for it because I saw some light, like with the lights. I didn't get any pictures at night with the lights of the rides, which I think I wish I would have done. I was having some drinks, chirping some players.
In the summer.
Yeah, I do love fairs in the summer. I'm more of like a local county fair gal myself versus.
As am I.
Yeah, we have this discussion every summer.
I'll go back when it's Valley Scare.
I've never been to Valley Scare, but that's on the to-do.
Neither have I, but I'll be there in October. You best believe it. Okay. I'm coming back.
All right. Yeah, it's not that far from your place either, so that's kind of nice.
It's like 20 minutes, 22.
Yeah. See, it's like a 50-minute drive for me, so it's kind of like not.
That makes
got to plan those things out. But shout out to Shakopee. They did an awesome job. Ton of fun. The only thing, and it's not even a criticism, it felt like it was almost too expansive. Like there was so much space. That it was a little hard to figure out like where to go, what to do, but it was also nice because there was so much to do, so much to see. Yeah. Very cool. So another Hockey Day Minnesota success. Next year they are in Hastings, and then they're up in Brainerd at BIR, which is the International Speedway. I have been there for various racing events before, so that's going to be a lot of fun.
Maybe they'll do a little stock car, whip it out.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that looks. Like, because BIR, it's the track, but it's usually for drag racing. Like that's kind of their specialty. So I'm curious to see how that goes. But they have like a whole campground and everything out there too, which is pretty fun. That's in 2027. And that'll be an easy one for me to like go up Friday and still come back for Saturday's regular wild game day duties.
Yeah, that'll work.
We'll make it work. So yeah, shout out to them again. Minnesota not getting the victory on Hockey Day, Minnesota, which is a travesty in its own right, Kirsten.
They should have won that game. Without a doubt, they should have won that game.
2 years in a row.
Should have shown up earlier. I think that's what I'm most mad about. We saw, as I alluded to earlier in this episode, they showed at the end they could beat this team. They should have beat this team, but they needed to play a full 60 minutes, which they did not.
Yeah, that is a little bit of a problem. They're having a tough time scoring as well. Yes, the final score against Calgary was 5-4, but that was because of a flurry of shots toward the end. Kirill Kaprizov. This is not me attacking Kirill Kaprizov. I need to be very, very clear about this before I go down this rabbit hole. Do we think he is fully healthy? He's got 2 assists, or an assist streak rather, in his past 2 games. He got a second assist against Calgary, got an assist in Chicago. And of course, he was out for 4 weeks, right? Like that's a long time to be back. Is he fully at the level that we expect him to be? Where do we rate Kirill Kaprizov in his return for just these small sample of 3 games? We love him. We're thrilled 97's back. Where do you judge his return at?
I mean, in my opinion, it seemed like they were extra cautious with him to begin with before even allowing him back. I think he's as healthy as he can be. And it also goes, I mean, we're in the thick of the season. How many NHLers are fully healthy right now? I mean, you're going to come back to help your team. Like, you've already been sitting for a month. If you're 90%, you're not going to continue sitting. You're going to hop right back in. And he does have the 4 Nations break coming up. So,
Alex Petrangelo withdrawing from the Four Nations because he's going to want to use that time. When's Jonas Brodin going to make that announcement, do you think?
To withdraw?
Yeah. He's going to have to.
He's going to have to. Sorry, my voice is just cracking all of a sudden. I think it'll be a last minute thing.
Yeah, like he's going to want to try.
But without having him in the lineup, with him having his issues, there's no way. There's no way. And I can't imagine Bill Guerin would be happy about it either.
No. And it looks like Philip Gustafsson is going to possibly be your starting goalie for Sweden now.
I selfishly don't love that either.
I don't either. And frankly, let's talk about it.
I'd rather rest my players. We selfishly need them here.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Philip Gustafsson and his seeming downfall is too harsh of a word, I think. But Philip Gustafsson has taken a decline, a mid-season swoon, if you will. He has allowed, let's tally these up. All right, going back to January 9th, we've got 10, 19, 2, 21 goals allowed in the past 5 games. All but one of those losses. He gets the win in Chicago last night. This was the goaltender, Kirsten, that was top of his game. We were so thrilled. And I'm not saying that he's not going to get back to it by any stretch, but we are seeing a different Philip Gustafsson than what we saw at the beginning of the year.
Yes, I would agree with that. But at the same time, I'm not gonna point all the fingers. And we're not pointing all the fingers at Philip Gustafsson. We've addressed the defense. We've addressed multiple areas. Philip Gustafsson, also one who hasn't been spectacular, not showing the level of play we did see from him. But also another thing too to talk about. I was distracted last night, guys. I'm going to be honest. I was watching football. I didn't fully watch all of the Chicago game. I'm sorry. But I've also been very underwhelmed by our offense as well. And I know we're talking like defense, net presence, and here I am talking about the offense. Our shots on net have been very underwhelming and alarming. Mm-hmm. So that's another area I would love to call out.
You're not getting the shots on net. You're not bringing it close in. You're getting, the thing is, and John Hines said it perfectly, exactly what I thought, which I always love that. I love when I ask a question, I'm like, this is what I hope you say, and he says it, and I'm like, yes, we dig that. It's great for story writing, guys. That's the reason. Plus, it makes me feel like kind of smart, like, oh, maybe I actually do know something, like I'm not a total idiot. Because if I am, that's, I'll admit that. But no, they're not getting the shots because they're not taking the shots. They're adding the extra passes. And again, it goes back to that east to west mentality versus the north to south. They were playing north-south hockey for the first 20 games of the year. And guess what was happening those first 20 games? They were winning. I mean, it's get down, drive to the net, get your bodies in there. Matt Boldy, Joel Eriksson-Ek, Marco Rossi, like get back that net front presence and send the pucks in, take the shots, get those rebounds. They're not getting rebounds. They're trying to get these good goals, and it's like that's not the way to do it. Now, I will say, I think Chicago, I believe I saw Foligno got in there and scored. So you were seeing some unlikely scores, and even toward the end of that Calgary game with Hartman and Foligno getting on the board there too, which is good. You're starting to spread some of that depth, but Boldy, where are we at?
I love what Jakob Lauko said. He did not hold back. He said they've lost their fundamentals. They've lost their back check. They've lost their forecheck. They've lost
hockey.
Yeah.
They've lost hockey. Yeah, I don't know. Offensively, it does. It needs to get better because again, when your bottom six is as kind of questionable as it can be, your top six better be on every single freaking night. And right now they are not. They're not. And again, yes, I'm giving some grace to Krull because he's just getting back into the lineup, just getting back into games. But also it's just a little surprising almost. Like, come on, man. Like, help him out. Help him out, Bolds. Help him out, Zooks. Help him out, Ecker. Like, I think it's just kind of that. And that being said, back to the Philip Gustafsson, a little loop-de-loop. defense needs to help out Gus too. Now, I think the problem I'm having with Gus, because I think Flower has played better than Philip Gustafson during these trying times of a weak defense. I think Flower's seen the puck a little bit more. He's able to get some of the rebounds a little bit better, whereas Gus just isn't tracking the puck like he was. And so similar to like we're telling the offense, I think he needs to get back to the basic fundamentals too. They have a day off and then they've got a practice tomorrow. So I imagine it should be a very heavy workload for everybody involved.
I hope it is.
You know what? Me too. Can't watch this anymore. It's terrible. It's not terrible. Let's get to some cues of the Beauts that we did not get to last week because I lost them. Apologies. This one coming from your dear friend Jeremy Lagos, the St. Cloud State Husky. Go Dogs. Is that what you do?
Dogs up.
Dogs up. If you guys got 100 penalty shots on Flower, would you score? Kirsten?
No. I would only score if he absolutely allowed me to because he pitied me. And even then, I don't know if I would have good aim.
That's the thing. My shot, I can't lift the puck yet. That is something I am working on. Every time I'm out at an outdoor rink, I'm legit working on lifting the puck because I just hit it. I slap the ice. I slap the ice too much and it sends the puck very low, which makes it very easy for any goalie to stop, but namely a Marc-Andre Fleury, right? And I don't think he would go easy on us. I think he would make sure that we couldn't get past him because he doesn't like to be scored on.
You know
We're
what?
not
As we
kids.
should. Competitor mentality.
I would sneak one in. I'd get down low. I'd get in his space. I would get in his grill and I would just pop one in backhand or something.
I would do an illegal move.
Yes.
And that's the only way, like throwing it in.
Remember when you did a wraparound and you like did a full wraparound the whole entire thing?
Yeah, I do. I do.
It was so good. Go to our TikTok page to find that one. It was very, very funny. Very slow. Very cute. Wraparound. Just wraparound.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I would get one in. But yes, it would be by cheating and cheating only. So, good question. Official Bubba Carlson wants to know who wins the cup this year. A lot of changes happening with some of those top teams as we've seen and witnessed. A lot of trades. Before we get into that one, actually, I want to ask you, what did you think? I am still very shook by Mikko Rantanen from Colorado to Carolina. Taylor Hall to Carolina. And Chicago gets nothing. Chicago is dumb, first of all. Like, you're a third party and you get nothing. Basically, you get a pick for Taylor Hall, which I'm sure made Connor Bedard very sad. And then
50%
Martin
of
Necas
Rantanen's salary.
Yes. Yeah, what a stupid third party. And then Martin Necas and Jack Drury out to Colorado from Carolina. What did you make of that trade?
I don't know. I guess like anytime like a big name is in the mix of getting traded, it raises eyebrows and like eyes are like, oh my gosh, they're moving. I don't know. I guess like Colorado, they're not the Colorado we've been accustomed to, like from a few years ago, even a couple years ago at that, if you will. So I guess them making a move, it kind of sits with that time frame of when you'd expect them to maybe trade an asset away and try to change things up a little bit. So I don't know. I guess I'm indifferent to it personally.
For some reason, I was so shook. Like for 24 hours, I was like, this is wild. Because they really had it. It didn't feel like Colorado really put their full effort into getting Mikko back. I mean, the same thing. And I think Nathan McKinnon had said it or somebody had said it where it's like Landeskog, they went until the final day before they finally got it. And so I think everybody assumed with Mikko Rantanen it'd be similar, right? Like it'll go to the final day, but he will always be a Colorado Avalanche. And it just seemed so quick and so abrupt for them to be like, okay, we're going to move on this, right? Like, yes, he had the free agent card in his hand, but it was just very kind of like boom, boom. And Martin Necas is a very good player, and I don't know really enough about Jack Drury, a defenseman, but do you think this helps Colorado, or do you think this weakens Colorado?
I think it weakens Colorado personally. I just think Colorado's kind of been on that downward slide. Maybe not like a crazy amount, but they're not the Colorado they were a few years ago. They're not the cup contending Colorado Avalanche that everybody was afraid of. So I feel like they're slowly coming out of their prime. Also, as far as Taylor Hall is concerned, I don't think anyone asked the Golden Boy Connor Bedard, how he felt about that before it happened. No one consulted him because he seemed very surprised and hurt. Maybe hurt's not the right word, but he's like, he's a guy I would go to for any question or whatnot, advice. And he's like, I saw him when we were like downstairs warming up, and then I didn't see him again.
Then he was gone. Like, oh.
Yep. So it doesn't seem like anyone let Bedard in on the plan.
'Tis a business. Tis a business. But back to the question then, who do you got for Stanley Cup? I can't remember who you selected originally.
Well, who I selected is no longer how I feel with how things have transpired.
Yes.
I'm liking New Jersey right now.
Okay.
I'm liking New Jersey.
For the full thing, they're going to win it, or they're just coming out of the East?
They're for sure coming out of the East. As far as winning the whole thing, I think the East is a little more closed up as opposed to the West, and I have felt that for a while.
Mm-hmm.
The West, no one has really. You know what? No, I'm going to say, yep, the Devils are going to win the Cup this year, and the West, it's open territory out here. There's no one in the West I've seen that I'm like, yes, like this, they taken everybody. I don't know.
Just pick one.
I can't because I don't know.
You have to. But that's the rules.
I said New Jersey Cup, or winning the Cup.
Yeah, but then who are they playing? Who are they beating?
I'm just gonna say Winnipeg, maybe, just because. I probably not. No, I'm not convinced by anybody in the West. I'm not.
What about your Detroit? Oh yeah, that's in the East. So what about your Detroit Red Wings?
Not convinced by anybody.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Washington and Winnipeg. The 1 and 2 teams.
You're just you've got blinders on for Winnipeg, and
no, but remember it was Dallas and New York, I believe, were my finishers, and I think I can't remember if I picked New York or Dallas.
You picked New York.
I picked New York. Yeah,
I'm pretty positive you picked New York.
Ugh, what a hot mess. I'm here for the drama out there though. Like I'm all about it. A lot of drama in the East. Not so much in the West. A lot of drama in the East.
You know what? The West needs a little bit of drama.
We need to spice things up out here, I think, a little bit. I'm kind of getting a little bored of this TV show, let me tell you. But out East a lot. Yeah, I'm going to go. Winnipeg continues. I mean, Connor Hellebuyck is a god amongst men at this point. And again, shout out Team USA. Love that for Four Nations. And Minnesota doesn't have to play him anymore for the regular season, so that's good too. Winnipeg wins. Only because I'd like to see the West win. Like, I love Alex Ovechkin, and I love watching the chase. What's he at now, too, by the way? We should check in on that.
I'm excited to see you rally this hard for Winnipeg once they end up inevitably leaving Winnipeg, their whole team. So, let's see how much you still ride for them when they are no longer the Winnipeg Jets.
Why wouldn't they be? Where are they going to? They're not going back to Atlanta. What if
Who knows? They could go back to Arizona.
Oh.
Arizona apparently getting ownership together once again.
That's psychotic.
Yeah.
That is absolutely psychotic.
Watch it happen. Watch it happen.
My poor Winnipegians.
The Arizona Coyotes are coming back.
The Winnipeggers.
Think about it.
All right, we got to find out what the Great Chase is at. Where are we at? How do we find this? Let's see. Alex Ovechkin. What if he like scores the goal to pass? Or is it regular season goals, I guess? I haven't even really looked at that. Okay. Career goal tracker. Here we go. As of come on. Oh, this was January 16th. Nobody cares about that. He is
I don't know, I'm trying to sing some elevator music because I don't even know what you're doing. So
it's just career goals. He's moving. He's 20 goals from breaking. Yeah, we're talking about Ovi. He's 20 from breaking the record, which again, because this is the reason that we're extra excited, guys. This is how it ties in to the Minnesota Wild is the schedule. Dun dun dun. Will Alex Ovechkin break the record in Minnesota? That's like my breaking news voice. This is why I never went pro in broadcasting. They are here. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 23 games. He's here on that 23rd game in Minnesota. 20 goals away. He's going to do it here. He's going to do it.
I don't know. Man's on a mission.
Yeah, I mean, if he has one game that he doubles up on, not looking good.
Man's on a freaking mission.
I love that for him. And then he just keeps adding on to it as they go for a Stanley Cup. The storyline, baby. The storyline. Until Connor Hellebuyck denies him in Game 7.
I wish I
overtime.
shared the same interest in seeing the Washington Capitals go for another Stanley Cup. I really wish I did, but unfortunately I don't.
I don't know why I am so uninterested in New Jersey. Yes, they've got Jack Hughes, and I just, for whatever reason, I just have never, I don't like them very much. I'd rather have Carolina. I'm surprised you didn't toss Carolina into that mix.
Because I've always picked Carolina and they've never
have.
gotten there.
Yeah, no, that's true. It hasn't boded you well.
I've given up on Carolina, I've given up on Nashville. Except Carolina hasn't absolutely just disappointed me in the way Nashville has.
Do you ever feel like your decision in hockey teams is like your decision in men? Just like poor and like not good? I just kidding.
No.
It's more funny that way.
Yeah.
Mine are boring. No, I'm just
At
kidding.
least
That's
my
also
hockey
mean.
teams provide value.
Right? Exactly.
So.
Like that's, yeah. There's some correlation between dating and your sports fans, in sports fandoms, I think. We'll have to look into that. Certainly, I could never date a rival. We've talked about this. I could never date a rival. I get too heated. I get too passionate.
Well, you're fans of rivals, so I don't believe you. I don't.
But like the Packers, I could never date a Packer. I could never date a North Dakota person either.
You say.
No, I couldn't. No, those are just the two.
You're fond of Zach Parise. He went to North Dakota, so no, I don't believe you. I literally don't believe you.
That's true. I have no standards, no moral grounds, frankly, when it comes to certain things in relationships. But that's for another podcast, I think. It's for a whole nother thing. Let's wrap this one up. Again, we will be at TR's come Wednesday before the Minnesota Wild take on your Toronto Maple Leafs. Shout out to Grain Belt for helping us out with that. Talk North, Livia, Jim Beam, SotaStick, and Royal Credit Union. You guys are awesome. We'll be back next week. The Wild won't, but we will. So, yay, because they're on a road trip. Going 5-0 on the road trip? Are they winning them all?
Well, clearly they've continued their home losing streak, and as history continues to repeat, they play better on the road than at home. So yes.
Yeah. Which, as Marc-Andre Fleury said, that's so dumb that we have to say we're excited to be on the road.
He's not wrong.
Oh, Flower. All right, kids. Have a good rest of your week. Rate, subscribe, like. Bye.